Hello and welcome to Creative Spaces, the podcast on a mission to reignite real-world connection. I'm Molly Cooper, and every episode I share the stories behind incredible people doing brilliant things in the world of travel, design and hospitality. From the founders and owners who have brought spaces to life to chefs, writers, designers and many, many more, join me as I sit down with the teams connecting people and places across the country. I'm also incredibly excited to share that soon you will be able to connect with Britain's best slow living spaces and under the radar finds on the brand new Curated Spaces platform. From weekly giveaways to flash sales and last minute availability, we're making 2024 the year of the staycay. Head to our website to get yourself on our early bird list and you can bag yourself some pretty lovely prizes in our pre-launch giveaway. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's conversation. Today, I'm in the heart of the Cotswolds at Cowley Manor, a space with an incredible history that has just welcomed in a new chapter with a takeover by the Experimental Group. Deep jewel colours and bold patterns reign supreme here with bars, lounges and games rooms spilling out onto the terrace, or guests can retreat to the spa to soak away their day in peace and quiet. And I'm so delighted to welcome Xavier Padovani, who joined Experimental Group in 2012 and is going to tell me all about bringing Cowley Manor to life. Xavier, welcome to Creative Spaces. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having us. All good. Thank you for having us.
Oh, such a pleasure. And we've just had a lovely tour around the gardens with the brilliant David, your head gardener here. It's such a special spot and I can't wait to hear all about it.
Yeah, he's a fantastic character, David.
An eccentric Englishman at their best.
It's quintessentially British and the best person to look after the garden here, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Well, before we get into Cowley and everything you've got going in this amazing space, I'd love to start with you and hear a bit about your background and how you've ended up here in the Cotswolds.
Yes, completely. I mean, for a Frenchman, I suppose it brings that bit of interest. But look, I've landed in London about 25 years ago. Yeah. Ended up in hospitality first by, helping out friends in different places. I actually worked for Sir Terence Conrad, my first job at Coaglinos on Bury Street here in St. James. So that was quite brilliant. Yeah, it was a brilliant experience. And moved from different places. I worked a bit with Schrager and Stark on the opening of Sanderson on Bernard Street as well, in the Purple Bar and Long Bar, with fellow Henri Besson. All that crew, like Bed Pendle and all that crew. That was really fun, actually. Ended up a bit of work with different aspect of the business. Now I'm more marketing with William Grant & Sons, so the distiller for Hendrick's Gin. I launched a gin and a whiskey with them for about 5-10 years around the world, and met my partners today, Pierre-Charles, Romé and Olivier. We're opening Experimental Cocktail Club in Paris, probably like quite a while back now. And decided to join together to open a small cocktail bar in London, which is the Experimental Cocktail Club Chinatown. Yeah. And that was, I don't even remember probably like 13 years ago or 14 years ago. And I think from that, it kind of like ended up, I joined the boys on the adventures on creating the experimental group. And then from cocktail bar, we focus mostly on hotels these days. With different locations from Paris, Biarritz, Ibiza, Menorca. Yeah. We've got Venice as well, Italy, Verbier in Switzerland, London, and Cowley Manor, and New York as well. I keep forgetting a few different locations. And New York as well, to which we're doing one new bar and one new wine bar as well. Wow. In a couple of months. So it's full growth, full speed ahead. Yeah. I'm based in London, as I was mentioning before. And I think Cowley Manor came out, not maybe like so much of a natural choice, but we were looking at different locations, at different parts in England to, grow outside 2-3 hours from London. Yeah. And I think that property came on the market and it was, something that we couldn't really miss, really.
I know. Wow, what a lineup, what a CV, what an incredible array of locations you've got at Experimental Club. And here, this incredible space, I can so imagine that money shot, as it were, when you sort of come down that road and this house is tucked away at the end of a valley. It's really quite special. So I can see why you guys didn't miss out on this chance.
Yeah, it was, I think it's always been there. Like it has, the building has so much history. And we were talking about Orlik earlier on. And I think what we do, not literally speaking, but what we try to do here is look at the property, try to, give it like not a modern or contemporary lift, but give it a little bit of love.
Yeah.
Fixing a few things that needed to be addressed. Don't touch the garden. David is on it.
Leave that to David.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and just try to bring it to the next level. Change the room. We kept most of the team. Just train them with the way we do business, the way we take care of people. And I think again, it's been just about a year now coming in this summer. We added 5 more rooms on the side. That's a building you see the construction next to, like keeping with the same kind of lineup, respecting the building altogether. And I think for us, it's like an escape. I think for a lot of people, it's like 2 hours from London. Just want to run away, clear your mind, and just relax.
Exactly.
And I think very often we find location, or we source location to where we like to go as well. If that makes sense.
Definitely. And actually, maybe for people who haven't been to this part of the world or they haven't been to the Cotswolds yet, what's your favourite thing about this little area, this region?
Yeah, it's. I think it's a proximity.
Yeah.
I think from London.
Yeah.
And it's just being that. I mean, it's wild. It's the weather sometimes is quite. There's a lot of rain.
Yeah.
But again, it kind of feel very well. It's far, but it's like all this little village that you go through when you drive by. I usually in the summer drive back on motorbike from London to here.
Wow.
Just because then I don't take the motorway. I just take all the little road on the side. It's just because the every single village, you've got like a little people living not in autarcie, but almost enjoying like the speed of life. I think is a little bit. Not reduced, but again, I've met a lot of people in the villages that used to be lawyers in the city, or you have a mix of people who have decided to reduce maybe the speed of living and the intensity of what London brings to, and the balance between having most of them have a house, in London, a place in London, and boom, somewhere in the Cotswold where they can just
come and breathe.
Yeah. And then again, all the houses, the way the houses are built, the way they've respected, that old architecture type as well. All these little village with little rivers. It's quite, it's
lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. When I first came in a few years back, probably even between COVID, I would say, just to come and to discover something, so quintessentially British, with all these, old pubs as well. Where there's a few pubs around where the food is incredible. I really like that sense of community as well. Here we're part of a village. We try to really the cricket pitch, is being used by the village guys. We're trying to find different way to help. We've got the Girl Scouts just around the corner, so it's trying to help around. Then the village has also been there forever. So when you come in, you're an operator, you just took over, you got to respect as well, what this guy's been doing for so many years. But I think it's also being part of a community here, which is something I find quite, attractive as well.
Yeah, and I think that's so important that these spaces, they are such huge, important buildings. They have incredible past, amazing histories. And actually, even in today's modern world, they can still play a really important role in their local communities and supporting and bringing people together, whether it's for the Girl Guides or for scouts or brownies or swimming or cricket. Yeah. I think that's great.
I've in the way we do, and it's quite similar in some. So we have hotels in central, let's say Paris or London, and usually exactly here in the Cotswold, we try to make it like a place where local people can come and actually not feeling like they're outsiders. So it's part of them. And we try to make it as well, when people we have tourists, coming from Europe, Asia, America come in and they discover what is, the local community all around. So it's like a balance. We've got the same thing we're doing in Venice, in Menorca as well. So it's trying to showcase. So the chef, we have a local chef, Dom. He's been working with Jackson Boxer, the chef in London, London-based, kind of foodie. And we want the local to feel as, welcome. And the funny thing is, when we did the first renovation, there's a lot of building work and things. People get a bit not upset, but I can appreciate. Yeah. So I remember on the first days when we took over, I went around the village, knocked at the doors. I thought it was an exercise, quite an interesting exercise. Yeah. I mean, and everyone was quite, positive, and the people were quite surprised. I would go, run and knock doors. The people that didn't reach, actually complain to the other village people saying, why did he came to see you and not us? So it's like you got to be careful, what you do. But and some of the stories and some of the people I spoke to, I spoke to people that were never allowed to go on the ground prior us moving in. So and they were like, oh, are we allowed to come in? And I was like, whoa, okay, that's when we launched the place. We did what we call a friends and family. So we've invited our friends, our family, and all the locals for 50% off or free dinner for them to basically taste the food, give us some feedback in exchange, what they like, what they don't like, and to welcome, the local community. And I think just trying to, I'm still, working on that quite, closely with some of the village people, trying to fix, things that, like that could be a nuisance for them, or trying to with the building work still not finished on some level, trying to keep everyone happy. But I think if we can find that balance, and that's what we try to do, where you come for the weekend, relax and chill, and discover, like a local pub around the corner, the boot or whatever that is, and then in the same time meet, some of the village local people who come for tea. I think it's what makes the balance. It's not always, easy. It's like, same thing, on holidays, it's only 35 rooms, so it gets booked pretty quickly. But it's so all the area surrounding, everything around it is quite exciting. And we're 15 minutes away from Cheltenham. So you get sometimes as well people who come from Cheltenham who want to see something a bit different.
Absolutely. Well, we whizzed up in our car and we came down the road and we sort of glimpsed the house. And again, you go through the little village, and it's lovely how it is so tucked in this little community in the village, and you sort of come in and park up in this beautiful building, and it feels incredibly warm and welcoming. And you come in and there's that really funky rug on the floor, which I'm obsessed with, and these statement chairs everywhere and bright colours and patterns, and everything's just so exciting and tactile, and you almost want to run around and touch things and feel everything. So I'd love to hear a bit about bringing it to life and what influences. Is it Dorothy?
Yes. So Dorothy did the design. So we've worked with Dorothy. She's Paris-based. We've worked with her on different buildings. She did Henrietta as well, hotel in London. She did the 2 hotels we have in Paris. Here, I think the challenge, and I think personally feel that she nailed it, but the challenge was not to fall too much into countryside, big bed, kind of like hotels. In fact, funny enough, there's plenty of little things like that. For the mattress in all the rooms here is actually a small company based in France. We work with familial business who we think make the best mattress in the world because we've tasted many mattresses. The one I'm sleeping at home is from these guys as well.
We were saying how comfortable the beds were.
Yeah, they are. I think they're really good. They're very comfortable. So we throughout the process we've tried pretty much everything. Like be it from the bed, from the seats. From everything around the room and the client experience. I think the challenge, and I think where Dorothée did very well, because when Dorothée starts something, like she's get on it, you let the designer take it away. And I think from Orlik to Lewis Carroll in the garden to all the little, nods, and she's put a few doors there, and then, Alice in Wonderland kind of inspiration. I think she's really nailed it in terms of not making too contemporary, and you want to remember that you are in the countryside, you're in the British countryside. But I think she's done a fantastic work. There's a lot of this room there we can't touch things. Like in the third room at the back, as I don't know if you've noticed, probably not yet, as the Orlik of desk. Oh. So that's like listed building. So we've had to keep quite a few things. There's some of the rooms which as well we were not allowed to touch, and we wouldn't want to touch it. One of them has a fantastic bathroom, which is really, really amazing. Another room is as well completely made all in wood as well. Very small room on the top floor. There's a lot of things that she had, to not too much liberty to play with. But I think she's done an incredible work. Same thing with the colors, like panels, and it's not minimalist, but it's kind of like, it's nice and discreet. I think you can pretty much sit in your room or there and not feel completely taken over by the design. Yeah. And still, with all the big curtains dropping down as well. Knowing that it was a refurbishment, meaning we didn't change so much thing 100%. We've tried to refurbish some of the things we had in rooms as well, and kept, we had to keep in budget because, it's always a bit challenging a house like that. it's extremely challenging in terms as well of like heats. It can be quite challenging.
I can imagine, but she's done such a good job, and you're so right. There's no like, oh, I've just walked into an Alice in Wonderland themed hotel. But there's like little nods. You start to notice rabbits on like the door knockers on the rooms, and little touches on the carpets on the stairs. And it's so cleverly woven in. And I love how that past sort of lives on today, but in a very fresh, modern way. It's amazing.
Yeah, the restaurant as well. I like what she's done with the restaurant.
Yes.
It's like, so the way you see it at the moment when you see the wood apparent, like for some reason, previous design has put like, some white paint or whatever on the wood.
Really?
And so all they did is just remove all the paint, all the varnish from the wood, open the room and try to keep in colors as well. The bar, volcanic rock as well, on the top bar. It's so the bar we've put is called Experimental Cocktail Club. It's what we started with. There's one in Paris, London, Verbier, Venice, and the Cotswold now, and opening one in New York. But again, we've tried to do the bar like, yes, you can relax and chill, but on the weekend DJ comes in and you can let go the steam a little bit, or just we don't want people again to. Like, we don't want to take ourselves too seriously. It's like it's the weekend, you're in the countryside. You should have a drink or two if you fancy it, and just have a bit of fun. Same thing with, the wine menu. So the food with Jackson and Dom is, I think, spot on. It's like using a lot of like local produce. The wine we tried as well to go easy. We have, funny enough, the thing we told the sommelier Roman, who is one of our sommeliers that works in London at Compagnie des Vins Naturels. He helped us with the menu, and he's actually put some British wine, believe it or not. So we also, as being French, it's a bit, like a
what
challenge.
What is English doing?
No, but actually, with the weather changing as well, I think they've actually selected a nice selection of wine. On the cocktail, Simon at the bar is killing it as well. He's using, there's a couple of distilleries just around the corner from here, which are doing incredible product.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a bit of that. So again, it's kind of like, we grow a few things for the kitchen as well, mostly in spring, summer, not so much in winter, but so the kitchen has access, to some of the garden. David is heading that project as well to grow more and more and more and more. With the bees going on, as we were saying, you've got, for breakfast, you wake up and you've got the honey from the beehive around the corner. I know it's a bit cliche.
Oh, no, but it's delicious.
It's pretty cool. We tend not to shout so much about it, but it's just trying to, consider, what can be done. Same thing with the garden, working with David. It's like, okay, what can be done, like to conserve, to see what we've been, in many occasions, we take over a project. And it's funny, often by the local people, I remember one of the things, we took over a building in Verbier and a nightclub called The Farm. Quite a big, was the oldest nightclub in the Swiss Alps, 50 years old. And I remember the village, the guys at the village, same policy, trying to work with the locals and everyone as much as the tourists. And they told us, look, you don't own it. You're holding the keys for the next generation.
Oh, I love that.
And I think it's very true. And mostly in that case, in building like Cowley Manor or like, Verbier the Farm, or very often pretty much where we go, because we tend to like, historical building. You try to really make the experience client stronger and better for people to actually experience what the Cotswold is all about, but doing it our way, really. And I think it's part of like, working in a really good synergy with the local people, with the hotel. Dorothée, I think, really gets that in terms of design. She always get inspired. She always go research, from the building, the location, the history. And I think altogether, that's what that's what we thrive on. It's like,
oh, you can really feel it.
Yeah,
so,
trying to.
Yeah, every room is so warm and you feel so at home, but it's not stuffy. It's not too homey. It's just like a bit of fun. It kind of pushes you a bit when you see that beautiful dark blue bar and with this, dashes of orange, and then you go down for your dinner, that lovely wood panelled room you're talking about, and the food is, again, we had the brioche, the old spot brioche, and my god,
that's pretty good though.
I think I could have eaten the whole thing myself. It was amazing, and all the food was just really hit the spot. It was so delicious. We were blown away. Those madeleines at the end, and everyone was so lovely. All the staff are it's really welcoming and warm, and it feels incredibly special to be here. So that special sauce, whatever you guys are doing, keep it coming.
We try. I think we can always improve. And on the staff as well, it's hard because they've been there for a while. owner comes in and they're like, whoa, what's going on? And I think we send the chef and some of our key managers to the property in London, in Paris, for them to understand, to experiment a little bit the way we like to do service, not too formal, a bit relaxed and chill, but not too chilled out either. Find that balance, because it's true, if you pay for 5, 3, 4, 5, 600, 800 for a room, you want a level of service that goes with that experience. And I think we try to and you're in the Cotswold, in the countryside, so it's also very difficult. People here, we were talking about the balance, life balance and work. You also need to keep it nice and neat. And the opening was incredible. The team we have, I think, today is fantastic, and for them as well. Because we're not maybe a regular operator like you would have all around the Cotswold. There's some amazing operators, but we tend to be a little different. Yeah. And to have the team, coming on board with us as well, pushing through, they've been a very strong part of the réussite, I think, of the project. And so we try to spend more time, with them up there to try to guide and work with them. This summer, again, we're working, how can we do the summer better? Yeah. We want to add a bar, the pool, maybe a bar in the front yard. People usually would do cinema in open air as well. So trying to launch that again. We launched that. There's a small theater company that goes by the lake and do theater for kids, and family as well. So it's trying to bring all of that back on the road a little bit together. It's an incredible project.
Oh, it's funny you say that, because actually we arrived quite a grey February day, but it was so cozy and so warm. But then actually we stepped out to the terrace this morning and I was like, wow, I can see this. I can see that French rosé flowing freely and those long lunches easing into the evening. And I imagine it's one of those spaces that is so cozy and a space to hunker down in winter. And then summer comes, you throw all these amazing doors and windows open and just have yourself a proper little summer's evening. Yeah,
summer is great. I've experienced it last summer and the summer before. When you have 150, 200 people just coming to watch a classic movie or whatever it is, Indiana Jones or a kid movie.
I love
it's they play James Bond as well occasionally. It's that boom, everyone martinis. The chef comes out. There's the green egg, the burger. So it's we put tent as well, big tent in the summer on different part of the property. You can come to your picnics as well. So it's a lot of work because there's so many different. I think we've got something for 7, 8, 10 or 15 different menus. You've got a spa menu, you've got a picnic menu, you've got there's so many different things. So we've streamlined that a little bit, but there's so many moments in terms of F&B here where you can share. Be it, from the brunch, we've just launched a brunch on Sunday now with Jackson. So it's the barbecue, how we're going to do, which type of barbecue we're going to do the summer. The bar and the pool. The pool is amazing, the outside pool, there's 2 pools. So it's for residents and we've got a membership scheme as well. Yes. So you have to be careful as well. The members have to go on a list. If you have a member that jump across the list, the whole village know about it, and you have to be very. It's very funny. It's you really have it. It's funny because it's so part of the local kind of what they used to. Again, you are working with the locals, and I really like that it's a fine line at some stage to be too much. You'd be okay, maybe take a little step back. But I think it's the big plus. The whole community spirit, I think, is really cool.
Definitely. Well, we actually did go down to the pool last night.
Did you try?
God, we did. The sauna, the pool, heaven, and incredible. I love how it's this. It feels very sort of Miami-esque, these huge windows overlooking the garden. There's incredible stone. It's beautiful. And there was a water aerobics class going on. I think it was a lot of the locals. I was just how fun if you live here.
Inside or outside?
Inside. I just imagine on your Monday nights, you pop down to Cowley for your water aerobics class. How glorious.
If you, when I did the rant to knock at the doors, one of the gentlemen came to me and says, okay, when is the building work finished? Because I haven't had a chance to go for a swim yet. I always go swim, and can you make sure I can swim always? I was like, yeah, of course. Then I went back to the spa, and Charlotte, the manager of spa, she's like, okay, who did you meet? Was it Robert? Yeah. Do he's not a member? I'm like, no. Did you tell him he could swim? I'm saying, yes. You can't tell him he can swim. So it's there's always something going on. There's always a little adventure. But the spa is a really, really, it's a really nice way actually to let go and we have again the way we've learned it, and we've done a specific time when kids can do it. So if people want to be relaxed and chill without the kids jumping around everywhere, no problem. It's kind of like all not regimented maybe, but it's well organized again, so we can control a little bit that aspect.
Well organized, but it's very well done. We were given our tour around by the lovely George. We have to give a shout out because he's
it's cool, man.
So lovely. And he did give us a warning that when kids are swimming, we're still allowed to swim, but we might have a higher chance of being bombed by a child. And actually the whole thing just feels very modern and very fresh. There's no stiff rules, but everyone gets to go, everyone can chip in, and it sounds like an incredibly well thought out and well executed project. But I can't believe you've only been open for a year, really. What does the next chapter look like for Cowley? Are there things you're still working on after the launch, or are you sort of settling in, still finding your groove?
There's a big list of what's coming up next. So in spring we're opening 5 more rooms, which is the building just there, finishing the construction. We've just launched the brunch on Sunday with Jackson Boxer. We're changing, I think, the lunch menu a little bit. We're looking at what we're going to bring in the summer in terms of barbecue, probably launching a bar in the front yard, a bar in the pool as well, with different menus, more adapted. And there's a couple of other things as well, more on the event related, like chef related. We bring a couple of chefs to do, whatever they call that, like 4 hands or like 3-4 chefs working together for specific occasions. So there's a bit of that working with Jackson. We still have quite a bit of we can always provide slightly not a much better maybe, but like ameliorate or make it a little bit better as a client experience. So this summer I've got big plans for a couple of other things. We just want to make it a bit like nicer.
Keep on looking for
and as an experience level as well. Drinks, probably changing the menu as well with Simon at the bar. We're doing less event as well. One of the things that was a bit difficult here, it was mostly operated as a wedding venue very often. Probably like to generate a certain amount of revenue, and it's always there. We've reduced that because the difficulty of having too many weddings or too many events is basically you shutting down the property for local people to come in, or people that just will rock in for dinner or drinks. So this year we've reduced drastically all the events, and there's only a few couple of weddings I think booked in. I mean the property has changed anyway. The food, the chef, everything has changed. We had to make a few changes. But we intend to make it more welcoming and more open for the summer as well. So that should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I was at the Gunton Arms in Norfolk, and again, they said they just don't do events because they made a pub for the community, for people to come and enjoy, and they just think events, you just close it down, you close it off, and it's not what they wanted to do. So
it's a tough call. It's a tough call, and I can understand. I don't blame the people who are operating such as it's then basically a wedding venue or event venue. I've met so many people who, when I talk about Cowley Manor, they're like, "Oh, I got married in Cowley Manor." And when we took over Cowley Manor, that was a wedding, like 2 weddings per week, for the next. So in terms of business and operating, generating revenue, I get it. That kind of makes sense. It's easy on the staff as well. It's like, okay, boom, big tent, 100 people, thank you, goodbye. But it's not pretty much what we're about. I think it's even so in terms of revenue, it's harder to start from that and to build a business with people getting used to like, oh, it's okay, oh, it's closed again, oh, it's closed again. Now they get used to like, with 50 hectares, with like the F&B capacity we have, I think we will probably generate long-term probably better revenues than just doing what we do. But it's an easy go, it's the easy thing to do. And again, we like to make it a bit complicated, maybe.
Yes.
But I mean, saying that, we have taken a couple of events where people are like, look, I really want to get married there. I'll take the hotel, full hotel, like for a couple of weekends or the weekend, and just, I mean, we it's possible for people who really want to make it happen, but we've drastically reduced it. I think it's a shame to have that venue just operating as a purely like a wedding venue or whatever it is. I think it's much more like that, and I think it fits better with what we do as well. Like it's that experience, that guest experience. You fly in from Paris or anywhere, quick stop in London. You can fly to Bristol. Actually, some of our friends fly from Bristol directly and drive here. And it's just that moment. And if you're staying in the hotel and there's like a massive event, it's not really fun for you. So we stay away from that a little bit.
Oh, well, I love that you wanted to make a space for people to enjoy, for the community.
It's been more fun,
and I love that you're still bringing that to the front of everything you do. I think that's really incredible. It's been such a pleasure chatting.
Oh,
I do have a closing tradition before we
Yeah,
wrap
fair
up.
enough.
I'm going to ask you 3 questions. And
Okay.
you imagine you've just cashed that winning Euro Millions check, so money is of
Okay.
no object. And let me know what space comes to mind for you. So number 1, where are you running away to disconnect and to detox?
To disconnect, I run away to Barbados.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I got married there with my wife, and
wow.
I do all the big birthday in Barbados. We have friends down there, and for some reason, I find it's like London but under the sun. You know, like the mentality and the people, and I quite like it. And I usually don't go in like high period like December, January, whatever. But we love it. So it's either that or either in the mountain, I would say.
Yeah, bit of fresh air either way. Yeah. Very good answers. Love that for you, Barbados. Okay, next one, which I think you might have some experience in, is your ultimate birthday party. Where are you hosting it?
It's too easy. I would say Barbados again, but no, it's actually doing my 15 Barbados. Yeah, this year, we went with a few friends. So, I again, it's a bit too easy maybe, or it's a bit too boring. But yeah, Barbados is that place where I can really relax, disconnect.
And party.
Drink
all
some
in
rum
one.
and enjoy, really.
Well, you can book in your party and then you can have your disconnect and detox afterwards to recover.
Completely, yeah.
Okay, last one. Might be Barbados again. I don't know.
I hope not. Yeah.
Your once in a lifetime bucket list trip. Where are you heading? And are you staying anywhere special?
That's a very good one. I would say I haven't been for 10 years maybe. And it's always been like Japan has always been for me like an amazing kind of like a place to discover mostly probably food, drinks and people. And I used to stay at the Park Hyatt in Tokyo. And it was one of my favorite hotels all over the world. Nothing really extremely special or else, but I think in my generation, we grew up with that Bill Murray movie as well, Lost in Translation.
Yeah.
And I know that that time, the first thing I went when I arrived in Tokyo was I went to that bar, ordered, a gin martini, and I just to do that. But I think for me, Japan, and I plan to go back next year and with the kids and my wife, just to like try to share that experience. But it's always been such a, Japan, South Korea, some part of Asia for me have been so really the world being a very different place out there. Just culinary. Tradition, like I find it's extremely interesting.
How you can slave away for like 20 years learning to chop the salmon before you do the next thing.
It's incredible. And I really like it out there. So I'm hoping to get back then there at some stage.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'm glad we've got Barbados and Japan, two very strong answers. And it's been such a pleasure chatting. Thank you so much. I can't wait to come back in summer and
come
see
enjoy
you in
it in
full
the summer
swing.
and see exactly what it's like.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that.
No worries.
Xavier, thank you. What an incredible space featuring an absolute transformation. It was such a joy hearing about bringing this latest chapter to life, and I will see you on that glorious terrace later this summer, I'm sure. And thank you, of course, to all you lovely listeners who tune in week after week. Thank you for your kind words, reviews and ratings. It really means the world and keeps the podcast going. I'm also incredibly excited to announce that the Curated Spaces podcast is soon to become the Curated Spaces platform, where we'll be connecting curious travellers with the best slow living spaces and under the radar finds around the country. If this sounds like your kind of thing, then please do head to our website to get yourself on that early bird list and keep your ears peeled as we start to officially count down to launch in the next few weeks. In the meantime, I will of course see you next time for more Curated Spaces.